This is Barry Zalma speaking for Zalma on Insurance on YouTube. I am an attorney who is retired from the practice of law and now spend my time as an insurance claims consultant, insurance claims expert witness, author, and producer of these videos. Continuing with the claims commandments, we will start today with commandment number 5. Thou shalt communicate with the insured. The key to resolving insurance claims amicably is constant and substantive communication between the insured and the adjuster. Communication about the claim on a regular basis allows the insured and the adjuster to build rapport and work together. Building rapport is a fundamental aspect of human communication. Being able to build rapport could be viewed as a basic element of social intelligence. The professional claims person should first spend time establishing rapport and the confidence of the person being interviewed when dealing with a claims investigation. There are 4 elements to building rapport, and when applying the 4 elements, those people who wish to build rapport should strive to first build trust, such as demonstrating honesty, reliability, and fairness, understanding another person's views, such as making statements that the professional claims person understands how the other person feels, showing respect that is polite and expresses gratitude, and to be the kind of person who others would like by stating a willingness to be empathetic and altruistic. A claim situation where the adjuster fails to establish rapport with the insured is doomed to fail. Rapport is a relationship marked by harmony, conformity, accord, or affinity. Rapport can be established as easily as the professional adjuster complimenting the office decor, if possible, to do so honestly. However, if the insured is relegated to a drab cubicle, rapport can be established by the professional commiserating with the difficulty of working in less than comfortable surroundings. The adjuster could probably gain rapport with the insured by explaining that his or her employee also forces the adjuster to work in a similar situation. The adjuster, to establish rapport, should delay questioning by making an attempt to find mutual interests and concerns with the person to be interviewed. The task of establishing rapport can take minutes or hours. It is imperative that to complete a successful adjustment, sufficient time must be extended establishing rapport before the serious and detailed part of the interview begins. Regardless of the skill of the adjuster, if rapport is not established, the goal of the adjustment will not be reached, and the promises made by the insurer to the insured and the promises made by the insured to the insurer when the policy was first acquired will not be provided or accomplished. Once rapport is established, it is essential that the adjuster maintains that rapport with the insured, setting up an ability to communicate regularly with the insured. The insured should be provided with the adjuster's office telephone number, the adjuster's cell phone number, and an email address where the insured could reach the adjuster to resolve any questions that might come to mind during the a part and parcel of the adjustment. The adjuster, even if not asked a question by the insured after rapport is established, should mark a diary to communicate with the insured at least once every 30 days, even if the communication is nothing more than a telephone call that simply asks how the insured is doing. If possible, the adjuster should also fill in the insured on the process and progress of the claims investigation and any events happening or that will be happening in the near future. Contact in person is preferable, but caseloads for modern insurers do not allow for continuous personal contact. If such contact is not available, the contact should be by telephone, mail, or email. For example, if the insured has been sued by a third party, the adjuster should explain what is happening in the lawsuit. When defense counsel files an answer to the suit, the adjuster should deliver a copy of the answer to the insured, explain the meaning of the language in the answer, and what defense counsel expects to do next to protect the interest of the insured. Each communication should be noted in the file or in the log notes on a computer database. At least every 30 days, some communication must pass between the adjuster and the insured and noted in the adjuster's file, whether the communication is substantive or merely an effort to keep up the rapport between the insured and the adjuster. For example, if the claim relates to a fire at the insured's home, the adjuster, after establishing rapport, should present to the insured a schedule of the time needed to determine the scope of damage, set a time for meeting with the insured at the loss location, meeting with an independent contractor, set a schedule where they also meet with the insured's independent contractor if the insured has one. The meetings should take place quickly with everyone ready to work. The adjuster, the experts, the contractors, and the insured should then agree on the scope of loss, and the adjuster should explain how long it will take the contractors to create an estimate of repair. When the estimates arrive, the adjuster should prepare a comparison of the estimates and meet with the insured to determine the differences between the two or more contractors. The insured and the adjuster should then agree on the contractor whose estimate covers the entire loss, and a contract should be agreed to repair the home or other structure. As repairs proceed, the adjuster should inspect the work and regularly advise the insured of the progress of the repair until the repair is completed. This is performed by also helping the insured with the additional living expense coverage to have another residence to stay in while the work is being completed. States by regulation also require regular communication and have been known to punish an insurer if the adjuster fails to communicate with the insured on a regular basis. Regulations set minimum, not maximum standards. Adjusters should and are expected to exceed the minimum standards set by the Fair Claims Settlement Practices regulations. Insurers now find, especially in bad faith litigation, that trial lawyers will posit violation of the minimum standards set by the Fair Claims Practices regulations as evidence of bad faith sufficient to allow a trier of fact to assess tort damages against the insurer. Since the regulations are stated to be minimum claims handling standards, failure to comply will give a judge or jury the opportunity to contend that the failure to comply is evidence of tortious conduct sufficient to support a claim that the insurer committed the tort of bad faith, and to allow a judge or jury to not only issue compensatory damages, but in addition tort damages for trouble, inconvenience, pain, suffering, and punitive damages if it finds the conduct of the insurer was so bad that it needed punishment to give advice to other insurers to not act the same way. The adjuster must be familiar with the Fair Claims Practices regulations in his or her state with regard to communications to the insured and work to exceed those requirements. The minimum standards set by the various states are just that, minimums. The adjuster who establishes and maintains rapport with the insured will resolve more claims quickly and without difficulty, and will never face the wrath of a supervisor or an auditor from the state, because he will or she will exceed the minimum standards. And where the minimum is 15 days to communicate, the adjuster will communicate in 1 or 2 days. The adjuster, however, that fails to communicate regularly and substantively with the insured will have difficulty reaching agreement with the insured and will almost invariably bring about a bad faith lawsuit seeking both contract and tort damages. Claims Commandment 6. Thou shalt document the claims file. Most insurance regulators require that every insurer maintain claim files that are subject to examination by the regulator or by his or her duly appointed designee. The regulator requires that the claim files must contain all documents, notes, and work papers, including copies of all correspondence, which reasonably pertain to each claim in such detail that pertinent events and the dates of the events can be reconstructed, and the insurer's actions pertaining to the claim can be determined. Similarly, insurance company management needs the same ability to determine that the claims people are doing what they expect to be done to keep the promises made by the insurance policy. And if the adjuster keeps a working file that is separate and apart from the company's file, that file must also be available to management and to the auditors. In simple language, everything the claims person does must be recorded in the claims file, whether kept in a computerized system or a paper file. Every document collected, every photograph taken, every video recorded, every letter written, every email sent, notes of every telephone conversation must be in the claims file. Every comment and note made in a claims file should be written as if it were addressed to Dear Commissioner or Dear Ladies and Gentlemen of the Jury. When one writes in claims file with such a consideration, there will seldom be a note in a claims file that will be looked upon as an action violating the Fair Claims Settlement Practices regulations or violating the simple rules of good claims handling. The information in the claims file must be maintained so that the claim data are accessible, legible, and retrievable for examination, so that the insurer shall be able to provide the claim number, line of coverage, date of loss, and date of payment of the claim, date of acceptance, denial, or date closed without payment. This data must be available for all open and closed files for the current year and for, at the very least, the 4 preceding years. All file destruction practices should be reviewed to ascertain that no file will be destroyed less than 5 years after it is opened, nor less than 4 years after it is closed. Insurers should also maintain procedures to never destroy a file if litigation has started or is anticipated until after the litigation has been resolved. A diary system for the destruction of old files should be established by the insurer and its claims personnel, with a requirement to keep the files at least 2 years longer than the regulator requires as an extra precaution and to avoid any unnecessary difficulties with the regulators. If the files are scanned into computer media, microfilmed, or recorded in a method other than paper backups, the records must be duplicated and available off-site so that the files can be maintained safely in case of any problem with destruction of the facility where the files are normally kept. The claims person must record in the file the date the claims person received, the dates the documents were processed, and the date the licensee, that is, the claims person, transmitted or mailed every material and relevant document in the file. And the claims person must maintain hard copy files or maintain claim files that are accessible, legible, and capable of duplication to hard copy. Files must be maintained at least for the current year and the preceding 4 years. If date stamps are not in use, the insurer should provide a date stamp to each claims person so that the date of each action will be recorded in the file. If the insurer is paperless, all incoming mail and documents must have embedded in the image a date showing when the document was received. A mail log should also be maintained to establish dates of mailing of each document. If the insurer uses computer-generated email, and logging the computer should be programmed to record the date and time of each entry in such a manner that the claims person cannot modify or change the dates of an entry. All email communications must be saved for up to 5 years in a searchable database or in connection with the electronic claims files. Email records, claim file records may not be destroyed while a claim is pending. Claim file materials may not be changed, edited, or modified while a claim is pending and for the next 5 years after a claim is completed. All electronic records must be kept in a manner that would allow a complete file of the electronically recorded record to be printed out in full on paper so that it is available to produce to the regulator or capable of being produced in a format that any regulator can read, such as Adobe PDF, or the insurer's supervisor personnel, or in discovery if litigation occurs, must always be kept safely and available for review by the departments of insurance and or by key management personnel. The key for the claims person is, if in doubt about putting information into a claims file, always put the information in, and never fail to record actions that relate in any substantial way to the file, the adjustment of the claim file, or the investigation conducted by the claims person. These two claims commandments and the previous claims commandments that we have reported on can be found in my books, Zelma on Insurance Claims, which is available from Amazon.com as either a Kindle book or a paperback in 10 volumes. If you need any further information, you can always contact me by email or phone. And I thank you again for your attention.